Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video of Seed World International. My name is Marcel Bruins, and I'm editorial director of European Seed. And I'm very excited that joining me today is Steve Reno, president of the global seed business platform of Corteva Agri-Science. Steve, very welcome.
Yes, thank you. It's great to be here.
Steve, normally we would be having this interview face-to-face at one of the major seed events. But of course, in the current pandemic times, that's not possible. And that made me think about all the other things that we're doing differently in the pandemic. For example, here in the house, my wife and the kids, and that there's a much bigger focus on food, for example. We're baking our own bread, we're making yogurt. I made the vegetable patch bigger so we can grow more vegetables. Have you been doing anything different during the pandemic?
Yeah, I would say it's probably similar for us too, is that about probably 11 months ago now that I invested in a Traeger smoker. So I have been smoking all kinds of meat, whether it's pulled pork or brisket or salmon. So I will say that it's been a little bit of a change for us too, but I've enjoyed it, but probably eaten more red meat than I normally would.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds great. Remind me that I pass by for a piece of smoked salmon someday. And Steve, you work at Corteva Agri-Science. Can you share a little bit what's new at the company?
Yeah, so we think, one exciting thing for us is we're 2 years old. We are a 2-year-old pure play ag company, at Corteva. And, it's exciting to think that we have 20,000 employees globally that get up every day and they are focused on one thing. That's bringing innovative solution to growers, that helps them be more productive and do it in a way that also helps us meet the demands of consumers, in a sustainable way. So it's exciting to be part of a pure play ag company. I think the other thing that excites me is, one of our major brands in Pioneer. We celebrated our 95th anniversary earlier this year too. So, those are a couple things that, yes, as we look at Corteva, that excites me. And I think the last thing that I'm proud of is, Corteva's commitment to transparency and openness. And I think that's extremely important in today's time. We're a big believer in the newest breeding technologies, and we think that can help us bring more sustainable, more nutritious food to a growing population. But we also want to make sure that we're providing information that our consumers and our farmers are, the way they want it, that's most meaningful, that shares that information. So we've on our Corteva.com site, we've also got a transparency that shares the breeding techniques that were used. And we have for corn, soybean, canola, oilseed rape, and sunflower for Europe and for North America. They can look at that product directory and see what types of breeding techniques were used. So I think it's, at Corteva, we're all about openness and transparency. And I think that's a good thing for the industry too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took a look at the transparency website. Looks really great, very informative. And I think it's crucial that, we inform the general public, not only what we or you as a seed company is doing, but also the why. Why are you doing it? And you're explaining that very well on the transparency website. Well done. Steve, of course, the plant breeding and the seed sector are very innovative, as we know, with lots of technologies coming out on a regular basis. How does Corteva approach these new technologies in R&D?
Yeah, so we're blessed at Corteva to have world-class research and development organization that is focused on discovery, designing and developing products that will help our farmers be more productive and profitable. Do it in a way that brings is meeting the consumer needs and demands. But we're also realize we can't do it alone. We have got to collaborate with folks. So whether it's other companies in the industry, whether it is universities, whether it's nonprofits, is, we know that we can't come up with all the right answers. And we need to partner and collaborate to be able to bring those solutions to growers, around the world. And and that can come in many phases. It could be within our traits, whether it's native or whether it's genome edited, or whether it's GMO. And those traits are important to help to protect the plant, herbicide tolerance, insects, disease. Could also come within our breeding, and genetic gain is what helps growers, be able to produce more on the same or less acres. May come in CRISPR-Cas9 and gene editing. Could come in biologicals and those types of spaces, or crop protection, looking for, new types of active ingredients there, or digital. And one example of that collaboration is just recently we announced that we signed an agreement with Bayo, which is a Dutch vegetable and breeding company that is going to have access to our intellectual property with CRISPR-Cas9, and is going to use that for research in vegetables, to help bring products to the market that probably can handle stress better, but also can have more nutritious, maybe more benefits for the consumer. So that's just one way, that we're collaborating and making sure that with our, intellectual property and CRISPR-Cas, that others can be using that also.
It sounds like an absolute win-win scenario for the seed companies: faster, more efficient, better varieties coming out sooner, and for the consumer, more healthy, nutritious varieties coming to the market. So absolute win-win. Of course, besides plant breeding, Corteva is also heavily involved in the field of seed treatment. Steve, what's the latest in the field of seed treatments at Corteva?
Yeah, so if we think about seed treatments, that's it's really kind of who we are, kind of intersection of our crop protection and our seed business. And we look at hundreds of different seed treatments and formulations every year, in our centers for seed applied technologies. And we're looking for plantability, singulation, that early vigor, cold tolerance, and we're able to do that in a controlled environment in our center of seed applied technologies. But then we take it out to over 60,000 plots on the farm. And today we have 2 of these center of seed applied technologies in the U.S., one in the U.S. and one in Brazil. But I am happy to say that we're going to be opening a 3rd in Europe in I think second half of 2022 in Southwest France, and to give us the ability to expand our seed treatments. And one thing that I am proud of is, if we think about this past year in 2021, we had over 10 million hectares of a new naturally derived seed treatment that was used on the Pioneer seed brand on corn, oilseed rape, and sunflowers. That is just another example of us bringing newer products to the market, but looking at it in a different way. And these happen to be naturally derived seed treatments. So seed treatments are extremely important to protect that plant early against disease and insects and nematodes, and being able to have another center in Europe is exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. I can't wait to visit the center. But talking about those environmental benefits in seed treatment, can you share a little bit what else Corteva is doing in the field of sustainability?
Yeah, sustainability is extremely important. And as I mentioned earlier, Corteva is just 2 years old, but we've accomplished a lot in those 2 years. We have a year ago, we launched our 14 sustainability goals. And it's not just about the goals. It's got to be who you are as Corteva. It's got to be what we do as an organization, products that we develop. But I'm also proud to say that earlier this month, in June, we announced our first sustainability report. And it's important to be able to be completely open about how we're tracking against those goals. And our goals are goals to 2030. And so we've accomplished a lot, and proud of what we've accomplished in the first couple of years. Another example of back to that collaboration and partnership that we're doing is we also collaborated with a company called Gentle Farming, which is a regenerative farming organization in the UK and Ireland, and partnering with them with our operations there. How can they help us, reduce carbon? And I think lastly to maybe mention is, we've also pledged for a climate positive, in agriculture, but do it in a way that helps, uh, protect the water, give us soils that are very nutritious, and do it in a way that also allows our growers to continue to be, productive and profitable. So those would be a few other things that I'm proud, as we're developing products, we're doing it in a sustainable way.
Sounds awesome, Steve. All very, very important initiatives to make your whole operations more sustainable and all to the benefit of the planet, of course. Well, this sounds fantastic. Looking at the time, I'm afraid that's all that we have for today. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining me in this interview. To our audience, thanks for joining. I hope you found it interesting and valuable, and I look forward to seeing you in the next interview.
Thank you.